Hi, thank you for joining us today. I'm Allison Venuto with Ducks in a Row Personal Organizing, and today we're going to talk about setting up the whiteboard in your classroom. I've been a teacher for 10 years, and through that time I've taught both core subjects as well as elective subjects. And throughout my career, I've really looked at ways to use organizational strategies to help me in the classroom, to help my students, and then to help parents and other people in the community also find more time in their lives. I have a passion to help people with organizing, and so from that, Ducks in a Row was born. So let's talk a little bit about your class. The first 5 minutes of your class are incredibly important. They set the learning tone for your classroom. If you're coming in, getting started, the students know what to expect when they walk in. The first 5 minutes, give the students a little time to settle in. Maybe they need to write something in their planner. Maybe they need to hole punch something. Maybe they just need those first couple of seconds to just say hello to somebody or plug in their phone or something like that. It gives the students some time to do some housekeeping that they may need. Also, you can have a bell ringer in this period of time so that as the students get settled in, they know what to expect, they know what's going to be on the board and what they need to complete in those first 5 minutes. It also gives you some time to do some of the tasks that we have to do for every period, attendance, catching up with students, maybe taking in late work or anything like that. So those first 5 minutes really help your class get started well. As the students come in, if the whiteboard is set up in such a way that they can use that information to get their day started, it can really help them. The first thing that you want to have on there is the learning target. So what exactly are the students going to be, what's the goal of the class for that period, the date, because of course students are always asking us what the date is, and I just have it up there. I also have the items that we're going to do today. So that activity list I actually call an excitement menu. So that's a place my students can look. They know exactly what's coming up. They can anticipate what's going to happen in the class. I also have a section of my whiteboard where I write the supplies that every successful student needs. So if that's a laptop, if that's going to be a pen, if it's a particular piece of paper, if it's their journal, whatever it is, they have that information readily available to them. So again, in that first 5 minute period, they can get everything they need and get ready for my class to start. I also put up any announcements. So if there's, if I need to tell them about something that's going on related to the class or related to something that's going on campus, something like that, I put that on the board as well. And then I also list upcoming events. So is there a sporting event? Is there a college-related event? Is there a scholarship available? What needs to go up there for my students to see? And so all of that's up there. It's divided out. I actually use colors for every single one. So the date has a color, the excitement menu has a color, so that when my students come in, they know if they're looking for a particular piece of information, they can even find it by color as well. So once my students come in and they've got everything done, I also have on the board the transitions that we're going to use for that day. So for example, I have my students sometimes break up by ability. So I'll write the ability groups up there. And sometimes they know what they're going to do. So for example, we have some preset buddies that they're going to work with. So I'll write those preset buddies that are up there. Find your buddy from 1 o'clock, find your buddy from 2 o'clock, something like that, which is a system that we have in our classroom called Clock Buddies, which you can Google that and find a lot of different examples of that. I consider the transitions beforehand. So the day before, as I'm setting up my classroom, I'm considering, how do I want the students grouped? Do I want them grouped by ability? Do I want them grouped randomly? How do I want that to work? I like to put the transitions on the whiteboard because I think it helps my students anticipate what's going to happen in the classroom, and I think it helps them to calm down a little bit because they know what the group is they're going to go to, and they know that they'll have a partner. I always hate the student that is the odd student if you're doing pairs or something like that. So to decrease that, I really try to do the transitions early so the students know and can anticipate what's going to come. And I think from doing that, the students are able to relax and have a smooth transition, and we're not having students run all over the classroom and try to figure out what we're doing, and is it 2 people or 3 people and all those kinds of things, because everything's up there on the whiteboard for them. Thank you very much for joining us today. Again, I'm Allison Venuto with Ducks in a Row. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have any questions or you'd like to offer any feedback, please feel free to contact us. We'd love to help you out. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.